It's so bright in here. I slept like a rock. That must mean it's Dad's turn to cook this morning. I wonder if that means Joshua's still in bed. Guess that's a no. Well, I guess I'd better get myself ready then too. Nice, Joshua. Bravo. Good morning, Estelle. I hope I didn't wake you. Nah, I was already up when I heard you start to play. I can't believe how awake you are, though. Even the roosters still have bags under their eyes. Not that I mind. Well, with that siren song of yours gently lulling this beautiful woman from her slumber. What do you mean, woman? We're the same age and I'm hardly a man. Tisk, tisk, tisk. How wrong you are, Joshua. We may be the same age, but I am clearly the woman of the house. And that makes you something like my loyal follower, wouldn't you agree? Yeah. How fortunate for you. You could at least try and sound a tiny bit sincere. It really is a nice tune, though. Cheerful yet somehow wistful. I like your other songs too, of course, but this one's my favorite. What's it called again? The Whereabouts of Light. That's right, The Whereabouts of Light. I wish I could play the harmonica like you, Joshua. Sadly, it's a lot harder than it looks. Compared to what it takes to use a staff, I think the harmonica is much easier. It's really just a matter of concentration. You're probably right. I guess my problem is just that if I don't do something that uses my whole body, I start to feel drowsy. Okay, playing the harmonica is fine and all, but how about getting some exercise too? All your hobbies are sitting around kind of stuff, like reading and music. No girl is going to be impressed with just that. Well, excuse me for being so unpopular with the ladies. Although, I feel like I should be the one lecturing you about your hobbies. I mean, what kind of boy wants a girl who loves fishing, collecting bugs, and has a fetish for sports shoes? That's enough talk about my hobbies for now. And for your information, I graduated from bug collecting a long time ago. Really? I'll believe that when I stop finding beetles in the hallway. Hey, Estelle, Joshua. Morning, Dad. Good morning, Dad. Is breakfast ready? It's ready and waiting. How about the both of you hurry on down before it gets cold? Okay. I'm on my way. Thanks for the grub, Dad. Boy, am I stuffed. Are you eating or inhaling, Estelle? Like people say, kids who eat and sleep a lot grow a lot. Well, make sure you get enough to eat, but don't forget to pour that energy into your work, too. That reminds me, you two are finishing up your training at the guild today, aren't you? That's right. It'll be a review of everything we've learned up to this point. And once we're finished, we'll be bracers just like you, Dad. That means I'm not going to let you treat me like a kid anymore, either. You still lack understanding, Estelle. You can only become a junior bracer in the beginning, or in other words, a trainee. If you want to be treated like an adult, then you should work extra hard in your training to become a full-fledged bracer. Well, I'm not afraid of a little hard work. Just you watch, and see what I'm capable of, Dad. I'll be so successful that it won't be long before I pass you, too. That's the spirit. Let's see what you're made of then, shall we? Let's not start a rivalry here, you two. And Estelle, keep your focus on the task at hand. We have a test later today, remember? Huh? Wait, what test? Please tell me you didn't forget about the test, Estelle. You know, the one that checks whether we've mastered the skills we've been learning and training. Don't you remember Shara saying that if we failed, we'd be stuck with a ton of extra homework? Crap, totally forgot. Now that you mention it, I guess I kinda remember her saying something like that. Don't sweat it. I'm sure we'll manage somehow or other. I honestly don't know how you've survived this long, Estelle. Your brain is like a sieve. Papa's sad. How could any child of mine end up with such a careless, over-optimistic personality? Huh, you're the one who raised me, so I definitely got it from you. I swear, the two of you act so much alike, but whatever. We should probably head over to the guild soon, Estelle. Shara's going to be waiting there for us. Sounds like a plan. You know how crazy scary she gets when someone keeps her waiting. Oh, before I forget, it's my turn to cook dinner tonight. Is there anything in particular you'd like to eat, Dad? Any requests?
Something I'd like to eat, huh? How about roux on salad scalloped fish and a balsamic vinegar sauce?
What's that?
I think that's a little more than Estelle's cooking skills can handle. Or our stomachs. You're right. I just wanted to see what kind of reaction I could get. I'll just have the usual fried fish and omelet. No need for anything fancy, but do try to make something edible.
How rude. But I can't actually say he's wrong.
Actually, I do have one favor to ask before you head out. I'd like you to pick me up a copy of the Liberl News from the General Goods Store. They're supposed to be getting in the latest edition in today.
Got it. One copy of the Liberl News from the General Goods Store.
Receive 500 Mira. If there's any money left over, you can have it as your allowance. However, that means no wasteful spending.
Alright. Thanks, Dad.
Okay, we're heading out now. See you later, Dad. Work hard and give Sherazard my regards.
By the way, Dad, is it going to be alright if you stay at home like this instead of going to the guild today? You haven't been there for a couple days now.
Unfortunately, I have a lot of paperwork to sort out. But don't you worry, I'm carrying a big enough workload that the guild's not likely to fire me anytime soon.
That's not exactly the most convincing thing I've heard come out of your mouth.
Alright, let's begin. These are our two heroes, Estelle and Joshua. So let's head out of the Bright House onto the highway. Our destination is the city of Rolent. And when we get to the little fork in the road, we can take a look at the maps. Here we go. So here's a map of the area we're on. This is the Elise Highway. Just to the north is Rolent. The Bright Home is just outside of town. And if we look at this map, here's the map of the Liberl Kingdom, the setting for the Trails in the Sky arc. So you can see that Rolent and the Bright Home are on the east side of the kingdom. And over the course of this game, we will be going all across the kingdom in a big circle, visiting all these locations, all the major towns, etc. So to give us a lay of the land as to where Liberl is in relation to the Trails universe as a whole, the Trails series, of course, takes place on the Zemurian continent. And to our immediate east is the Republic of Calvard, one of the two major superpowers on the continent. And directly to the north is the Erebonian Empire, the other major superpower. So Liberl's kind of nestled just below the two of them. Also, not on this map, but to the far northeast, also sandwiched directly between Calvard and Erebonia, would be the state of Crossbell, the location of the second arc of the series. There are, of course, other nations and other smaller autonomous states around the continent that we will be learning about later. For now, this is the city of Rolent. Looks like we made good time. Not too early or too late either.
We just barely graduated from Sunday school. I never dreamed we'd have to study so hard to become bracers.
Well, you're in luck. Today is our last day of training. Truth be told, you're the one who signed up to be a bracer in the first place, so I don't know why you'd expect to get away with any less effort.
Oh yeah, I guess I did. Alright then. Let's get to it and make it through this last hazing from Shara.
You look ready to me. Let's go meet with Shara at the Bracer Guild over there. Alright, so we look at the map of Rolent, and we can learn a little bit about the kind of places you'll see and all the towns in the Liberl. So green buildings, those are various shops. They can be restaurants, general goods stores, weapon shops. The orange building is the Orbal Factory. We'll be visiting there shortly. Your purple building is the Septian Church. The world of the Trails universe follows, well, the western half of the continent for sure is involved with the Septian Church. Let's talk to Father Divine here. It has been a while since I saw the both of you. I'm impressed to see you visiting the chapel so early in the morning.
Good morning, Father Divine.
Good morning. You were habitually late and played hooky more than a few times during your Sunday school days, Estelle. So you've changed your attitude on life since you graduated?
Yeah, a bit, I guess.
Looks like there's a little time before morning mass begins. So how about I give you both a special sermon?
No thanks.
Why am I getting thrown into the mix here? Yes, the Septian Church is very prevalent across Zemuria, or at least Western Zemuria. And there is a deity in this universe. And in fact, there's a good look at her. That's the sky goddess, Adios. So the Septian Church plays a role in the series, though it'll be a very tiny and muted one in this game anyway. Let's go into the general goods store. This is Renown. He runs the store here. Good morning, Mr. Renown. Hello there, Estelle and Joshua. You're up rather early today. Did you come to buy a new pair of shoes? Now that you mention it, are there any new ones in stock? You know, like the newest Stragas? Unbelievable. You've actually already forgotten why we came in here to begin with. We're not here to shop. We're supposed to be buying a copy of the Liberl News for Dad, right? Yeah, of course. You've always been a big collector of those shoes, haven't you, Estelle? I'm afraid that the new Stragas aren't out yet. If you're after the latest issue of the Liberl News, though, I should have them in around noon. Noon, huh? That's right in the middle of our training at the guild house. We'll stop by again after our training is over. Sure, I'll be waiting for you. So, let's go upstairs and talk to Renown's mother, Bloom. The morning air is so crisp and fresh. Let's see. It's about time I water my flowers. So, there are a lot of NPCs in these games. Nihon Falcom loves their NPCs. They really do love them. And they do their best to give them all names and personalities and even stories that evolve as you play the game. Let's go up here. Hello, Orbital. Oh, that girl is so cute. I've got to be courageous and try to talk to her. This girl? Ellie. The weather is so wonderful and revitalizing today. I have this strange feeling that something good is going to happen. There are a lot of people like this around Roland. There are even some people that Estelle and Joshua are already very familiar with, given that Roland has a bit of a tight community. This is one of Estelle's friends from Sunday school. Welcome. Oh, Estelle and Joshua? It's been a while, hasn't it, Alyssa? Is there something going on today? Could it be that you're on a date together? Yeah, right. We're actually on our way to bracer training now. Oh, is that all? Everyone from Sunday school seems to have decided on a career or goal and is working hard to achieve it. As expected, you're a bit different than everyone else, though. What? Is there something wrong with that? No, not at all. I just thought it was very like you to pick the unusual route, that's all. Oh, that's right. Tio decided that she was going to help out at her parents' farm. She even said for us to all go up and visit her sometime. So that's what Tio decided on, huh? Another friend of theirs. Let's go into the building next door. And enter here. Here's a notebook on the table. There's a notebook sitting on top of the desk. Read. I'm a bracer. I live in a small rural town and maintaining peace in the region is what my job is all about. Today I received some job requests from a few clients, so I set off where duty called. My first job was to milk some cows on the farm nearby. The next was to help turn over some fields. Who was anyone kidding? That kind of job was a cinch when it came to my skill with a pitchfork. For my last job of the day, I was to babysit. At first I thought watching a bunch of kids would be easy, but it turned out that I was wrong, dead wrong. To my dismay, there were 7 whiny kids in the house. Even for a professional like myself, 7 kids are a bit much. But I am a bracer and I will do my duty. I got to work and cradled the ones who wouldn't stop crying, changed their messy diapers, broke up fights over toys, and even managed to do a ton of small jobs around my client's house, like washing the laundry, cleaning up, and taking their dog for a walk. Even when I got hungry and felt like I had no more energy to go on, I didn't forget my duty to report to the guild. If I gave up, what a loser I'd be in front of everyone. After going through all of this and arriving at the guild, the other bracers in the office stared at me in amazement. That's right, you guessed it. I'm famous for being a bracer in this town. Other bracers paying attention to me like this is what I have to deal with every day. They're probably all just jealous of my superior skills. Anyway, where were we? Okay, I remember now. So I was on my way to report to the receptionist when suddenly someone grabbed me by the collar from behind. Turning around, I realized that it was someone more scary than any monster alive. It was my dad. After thwacking me a good one on the head, he yelled so loud that everyone could hear. So you think you can just run off and play bracer every day without ever bothering to help your mother out around the house, huh? After that, my dad dragged me all the way home and then lectured me until who knows when. I didn't do anything wrong either. Seriously, what the heck? I'm a self-appointed bracer. Today, I'm off again to maintain peace in the region and solve whatever problems need solving at the request of my clients. So that's like a diary. And if it's not clear, that is not written by an adult but by a kid. That was written by, where is he? There he is. It's Luke. He would be the author of this. Whoops. And that's his friend Patner playing around. Relent. So Luke kind of has like a fascination with becoming a bracer. So speaking of bracers, I think it's about time we head into the guild. This is Aina, the receptionist.
There you two are. Good morning, Estelle. Good morning, Joshua.
Morning, Aina.
Good morning. Is Shara here already?
Yes, she's waiting for you upstairs. Once you finish today's training, you'll finally be recognized as members of the Bracer Guild.
Good luck to the both of you.
Thanks. We'll do our best.
The Star and the Hanged Man, the Hermit and the Magician, and last of all, inversion through the Wheel of Fortune. This is a difficult combination. How should I interpret this? Good morning, Shara. Well, if it isn't Estelle and Joshua. This is a rare occasion for the both of you to show up so early. Since it's my last day of training, I figured, why not? I'm ready to get this show on the road and become a bracer myself. I'll give you credit for your enthusiasm, but I'm going to work you hard today in every way I can think of to make sure that high-spirited attitude of yours holds up. I hope you're ready. I can feel that enthusiasm dropping already. Quiet, you. Every time I teach you something, you somehow manage to forget it. This training is my way of trying to keep some of that information in your head instead of letting it dribble out of your ears like it usually does. Joshua, Shara's picking on me. Don't worry, Shara. While Estelle may hate studying and rarely ever does her homework, acts rashly, is overly naive, has a tendency to stick her nose into everything, her instincts are sharp, so I'm sure she'll pick up on how to use an Orbment with some practice. Eventually. Probably. I guess there's not much I can do now except hope for the best. Hold on a sec, Joshua. Somehow I get the feeling that you weren't standing up for me. Well, that's odd. I'm positive I described all your best traits accurately. Whatever. By the way, Shara, what were you trying to protect with your tarot cards? Your face is really intent. Oh, this? I was just trying to get a vague reading about what might happen in the near future. Unfortunately, I don't seem to have been in the right mindset to interpret the cards correctly. You couldn't read the cards? Now that's surprising to hear. Actually, the more profound the meaning of the cards, the more difficult they become to interpret. But that's not important now. I think it's time we start your final training. I'll give you a brief rundown of all the information we've covered in your previous training. This is the minimal level of knowledge that bracers should have in order to function effectively. And Estelle, make sure you pay especially close attention to what I'm going to say. Yeah. Alright, here's your very, very basic rundown about the series, or like the universe we're living in. And Shara's not kidding when she says minimal. So first, tell me about Liberl. The kingdom of Liberl in which we live sits on the western half of the Zemurian continent and abounds with nature and deep-rooted traditions. Liberl is proud to be one of the leading producers of septium on the continent and is known for its high level of technology used to develop Orbments. Orbment technology has also been a key pillar of support for Liberl and protecting its independence as it has contended with neighboring nations. 10 years ago, when Liberl was invaded by the Erebonian Empire, it was the use of Orbital-powered airships that saved the kingdom from defeat. Consequently, even now, our relationship with the Empire is somewhat sensitive, but thanks to the Queen's political finesse, Liberl enjoys peace. Tell me about Orbments. This is essentially the technology that most things run on in this universe. Orbments are mechanical devices which operate by using what is known as Orbal energy. A variety of effects can be produced depending on their structure and the type of quartz, or processed septium installed. Although it's only been about 50 years since their invention, these devices play an integral role in all facets of life, from lights, heaters, and other everyday products to weapons, magic, and even airships. In connection, this technological reform is commonly known as the Orbal Revolution. And finally, bracers. Bracers are investigative and combat specialists who work to protect civilians and maintain the stability of their respective regions. They aid the community in various ways, such as exterminating monsters, preventing crime, finding lost items, and escorting people and goods. The Bracer Guild, which has established branches across the continent, manages the affairs of the bracers in each region. Let's see. Since we've got a mountain of stuff to do today, I'll let you off the hook this time with a condensed review. I'm going to speed things up now and move on to the practical portion of your training. Chera? How is today's practical training any different from the training we've done before? Since it's practical, that means you will be experiencing things firsthand. Therefore, I'm going to have the both of you run through everything as if this were a real bracer job. So what you're saying is, there won't be any studying at a desk involved? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. This time you'll have to go out and make a physical effort to accomplish your task. I'll make sure to have you work up a sweat, so I hope you're ready. Yes, this is seriously just what the doctor ordered. I didn't know what I was going to do if I had to sit another day with my tush parked at a desk. I guess I got all worried for nothing. Well, suddenly you're all bright and cheerful, Estelle. Let's just hope that smile on your face lasts until the end of today's training. Okay, let's get cracking on your first objective, shall we? Let's have at it! Your first objective will be to confirm the details of the job you will be performing. But before that, there is something that we need to give the both of you. Aina, are they ready? Yes, they are. Alright, you two, go get one for each of yourselves. These are very important, so make sure not to lose them. Receive the Bracer Notebook. Bracer Notebooks serve as the official way to record the status of your current jobs. Also, anything you may hear or anything that you may find and wear, these kind of trivial things can often become clues. No matter how insignificant something may seem, always write it down. Understood. Crap, this sounds like it's going to be a pain. Oh? Please tell me it was my ears playing tricks on me, because I swear I only got one response. I'm sure there were two. Keeping an accurate account of events is an important duty for all bracers. So get with the program and stop trying to make this out to be more than it really is, Estelle. Okay, I got it. Make sure you do. Alright then, let's begin. Look over by the door. You can see that there's a bulletin board standing there. First, I want you to go and check the job description posted there. When the bulletin board is approached, an exclamation point will appear. Pressing the OK button will display the job list. By selecting the job names on the list, you can view their details. Training Retrieval from Scheherazade. This training will involve searching the sewers beneath Rolent and bringing back the contents of a chest. See Scheherazade for details. Details of the job confirmed on the bulletin board and other important events will be automatically recorded in the Bracer Notebook. The Bracer Notebook can easily be found by clicking on the Books tab of the Items menu. It can also be accessed by configuring a Bracer Book shortcut button on the configuration menu. Very good. It looks like you were able to see what was posted without any trouble. Checking the bulletin board is one of the most basic functions of a bracer performs on their job. Checking regularly to see whether or not there are any urgent tasks which need immediate attention is also an important duty for the bracers. Man, all this talk about duty is starting to cramp my style. Sure, there are a lot of rules to follow, but there's an equal level of responsibility in the jobs themselves. I think being a bracer calls for much more than just someone with a half-hearted attitude. I guess you're right. I'll just have to be more motivated. Is that so? Had a change of heart, have you? You betcha. Well, before all that motivation sneaks off somewhere, let's get to work on your next task. What will we be doing this time? We'll be heading across the street to Mr. Melder's Orbal Factory and learning about how to use its services. He has graciously taken time out of his work schedule to explain things, so make sure to be on your best behavior. Okay. Here is where you will learn how to use an Orbal Factory's services. At an Orbal Factory, you can modify your orbments and synthesize support quartz in order to use Orbal Arts. Arts have a wide range of effects, and if mastered, can be extremely helpful. The bracer business is a pretty risky occupation, so the guild has a long-standing relationship with these Orbal Factories. Anyway, this is about as much as I can explain. I'll leave the technical details to the expert. So, Mr. Melders, if you wouldn't mind taking over from here.
No problem, leave it to me. So, what is it that you would like to know about? Alright, so these are the things you can inquire about. Let's start off with Orbment. So I will do my best to explain this universe's fictional technology, so try to pay attention if you don't know it already. Orbments are mechanical devices which exhibit an array of effects through the installation of various types of quartz. By definition, that means that lights, airships, airship engines, and so on are also types of orbments. However, the ones we will be discussing today are battle orbments, which enhance the user's physical abilities and make it possible to use magic. Since each orbment is adjusted to match the owner's personal aptitude, the structure for these devices also differ for each owner. Simply put, the shape of the fixed elemental slots and lines which connect them vary. At any rate, that's the layman's explanation. In order to install quartz, you must first have an open slot. By default, the central slot is open, but the other slots must be opened at an Orbal factory like this. It'll take a fair amount of Sepith too. EP, which is needed for magic, will also see a max increase according to the number of open slots. I recommend opening them all as soon as possible. So, what is it you would like to know about? Alright, so orbments are, it's a basic form of technology, well, basic even though it's fictional, that everything kind of runs on. Like he said, it powers lights, appliances, even things like airships, which from the animated opening you might see that Liberl's kind of fond of. But in addition to airships, though we won't really see them here in Liberl, there also exist things like, cars and buses. Erebony is very fond of trains, so those all run on a type of orbment. And well, how do orbments work? What powers them? Well, they are powered by quartz, which are made out of things called Sepith. And before he explains, I will say that Sepith is basically like a magic crystal that's mined out of the ground. It comes in all types of forms. So let's hear about that. Sepith are fragments of septium which are dropped by monsters. Septium's essentially the mineral, the basic term for the resource. They are divided into 7 types: Earth, brown; Water, blue; Fire, red; Wind, green; Time, black; Space, gold; and Mirage, silver. Sepith can be exchanged for Mira almost anywhere, but at the Orbal factory, it can be used to synthesize quartz and to open orbment slots in which to install the synthesized quartz. So what is it you would like to know about? Alright, tell us about what quartz are. So, you find Sepith, monsters drop Sepith. You defeat monsters, you get some Sepith of those 7 elements. And like you said, you can sell off your Sepith. Monsters do not drop money. The Mira is the term for the currency in this universe. So you don't get Mira from monsters, you get it for finishing bracer jobs, as well as for selling things, including your Sepith. So you can sell off your additional Sepith to get some Mira. But usually what you want to do with the Sepith you find off monsters, is you want to synthesize it into quartz. Quartz are circuits made from Sepith. Quartz have a vast number of effects and raise their owner's abilities, while simultaneously making it possible for them to use arts. However, you will not be able to harness any of these effects until quartz has been installed into a slot. However, there are also fixed slots in which only a certain type of elemental quartz can be installed. That being the case, when you synthesize a new quartz, be sure to check your orbit and decide where you will be installing it ahead of time. So, what is it you would like to know about? Finally, tell me about Orbal Arts. Simply put, Orbal Arts are magic, which can be discharged exclusively through the use of battle orbments. In other words, a number of peculiar effects can be produced by using the Orbal energy stored within these mechanical devices. Since Orbal Arts can be a mouthful, they are almost universally referred to as arts. Probably ought to have been called that from the get-go. There are several types of arts, but in order to be able to use them, their corresponding quartz must first be synthesized at an Orbal factory. Orbments are also set up so that once a particular quartz is installed into a slot, the owner will be able to use those arts. The type of arts one can use also changes depending on the elemental value and the combination of installed quartz. Basically, if you want to use water arts, all you have to do is install quartz with a water elemental value. In reality, orbments are much more complex than what I have described, but I think this information should suffice for now. So, what is it you would like to know about? That's everything. It looks like Mr. Melders has answered all your questions. If there's nothing else, then let's have you both try and use the services here. For that, you're going to need some Sepith. Got a little bit of Sepith of all types. With that amount, you should be able to synthesize a few quartz. Now, I want you to begin by first making an elemental quartz that will work with each of your particular orbments. In your case, Estelle, any elemental quartz is okay, but for you, Joshua, it has to be a time elemental quartz. Normally at a shop you would be able to exchange Sabbath for Mira, but for this training you will not be able to use this service. Upon approaching the counter, a talk mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display a list of options. Select Modifier Trade to use the Orbal Factory services. So let's talk to this dude, Freddy, I believe. Hi there, it looks like you two are doing well in your training. If you would like to modify your orbits, please select the Modify Trade service. That's a little immersion annihilating. Alright, so these are the services you have at Orbital Factories. So let's hit slot. And here you can look at Estelle and Joshua's Orbments and the slots that are open. Now because I'm in New Game Plus, all the slots are already open. Usually only the first 1 or 2 would be open. So, but because again I'm in New Game Plus, that carries over and they're already all open. Like Mr. Melder said, when you open more slots, it increases your EP, how much magic you have. And you see over on the far left where the Sabbath is. That's how much Sabbath I have. Those are the 7 elements, and I have thousands of each. That's also carried over. So Joshua's Orbment. You see, this is why Shara said to make a time quartz for Joshua, because his middle slot, as well as this one over here, only take time quartz. The other ones can be anything. And finally, let's go into the quartz. So you can only make these 5 to start the game. So we'll have to make action 1 for Joshua. And let me make an attack 1 for Estelle. And I'll need HP 1 as well. So talk to Shara. Alright, it looks like you were able to synthesize one. Next, I want you to increase the arts you can use. Now install quartz in your orbits so that you can use both recovery and attack arts. Quartz can be installed in the Orbment screen. The Orbment screen can be utilized by selecting the Orbment tab in the main menu. So you go over to Orbment right here, and this is how you start outfitting Estelle and Joshua's Orbments. So, there's a lot to explain here. Now you see that I have tons of quartz actually. These also carried over from my last playthrough. So in the middle one, let's place an attack, and then on this one right here, we'll place HP 1. This will allow me to do heal arts. So you see down here, these are the arts that are now available to me based on the quartz that I put in. So Tears your basic heal, Aqua Bleed's a basic fire attack, or water attack rather. Let me actually put attack 1 in on Estelle, not attack 3. Getting a little ahead of myself. I want to keep it basic for now. There we go. So yeah, the water one gives me Tear and Aqua Bleed. The attack 1 gives me Firebolt, basic fire attack. And for Joshua, we want to go in and put in his middle slot. Action 1 is what I made, alright? So that increases his speed by 10%. And it also unlocks these 2 basic time arts. Clock Up is a basic speed buff, and Soul War is a basic time attack. It also has a 20% chance of causing faint. So allow me to also explain, I guess I should do it right now, how building Orbments really works. Because they gave a real basic explanation, but it does, believe it or not, get even more complicated than that. So the way, say, when you get to the end game, and you want to create like the best spells you can possibly get, you want your Orbment to be as strong as possible. So you want, say, like the top fire attack on Estelle, and you want the top time art on Joshua, etc. So the way this works is that over on the top right, there's a little menu there, and there's an orange line and there's a blue line. Those correspond with the lines that are actually inside of the Orbment. You see, it's like a web, and the orange one goes off to the left, the blue one goes off to the right. And what happens is, depending on what quartz you install on those lines, the Sabbath values in that top right menu increase. And in order to unlock certain arts, you have to meet certain values. So like the Tear art that I got in the Aqua Bleed art became unlocked because just from having 1 water value on this line, you get these 2 basic arts. So you now ask, like, well, how do you know how much you need to get like the best fire spell or the best earth spell, etc.? Well, that's all inside the Bracer notebook. So if I can figure out how to navigate this thing, there we go. So inside the memo tab, you have these 3 areas, Magic 1, 2, 3. There you go. So, it'll tell you every art that's actually in the game. All of them. Every single art. So, the top Earth art, Titanic Roar, takes 8 Earth and 4 space in a single line. The top water one, Diamond Dust, takes 4 water, 2 wind, and 1 space in a single line. The top fire, Volcanic Rave, takes 8 fire, 4 earth, 2 space in a single line. The top wind, Plasma Wave, takes 8 wind, 4 space. The top time art is a support one called Anti-Sept All that takes 11 time Sabbath in a single line. And you even have some additional support ones like Chaos Brand. Saint is a great one. It's a great support art that takes a little bit of everything, actually. So you got to have a long line in order to create that one. And there are also tabs in here for explaining all the different quartz in the game, what their values are in terms of Sabbath, like how much they'll actually install on that line. So you know like which quartz you need to get the arts that you want to do. And then there are even some special quartz in here that have like special effects and whatnot. And then these tabs essentially kind of explain some of the things that I've already been telling you and some other basic things in the world. So the last thing about Orbments that I would want to throw in here is that you see how the lines that make up Estelle and Joshua's Orbments, if you look over on the right, they're different. So the best art users in the game, the party members you'll eventually meet and gain, the ones that are built to do really high level arts will have very long lines in their Orbments, because that way that line will be able to accommodate more quartz and be able to have more values and therefore be able to more easily reach high level arts. Whereas some characters that'll have they'll be based around more of standard attacks. They're more, they're hard hitters, or they're tanks. Their Orbments will be have shorter lines. Instead, they'll have multiple lines that'll break off the center point, and getting high level arts with them will be difficult, if not impossible. So Estelle's pretty average. She has one line that does 3, one line that does 4. Joshua's alright. He's got that one long line there that does 5. So that orange line will be able to accommodate some really high level stuff. You'll probably see me later be able to put a lot of time Sabbath on this one and be able to do some high level time arts. But that's enough for now. Alright, it looks like you've both got recovery and attack arts set up. If you balance out your arts between each other like you've done here, it should make dealing with monsters much easier. Additionally, your bracer notebooks contain information about which quartz allow you to use which arts. If you'd like to use more powerful arts, check out the arts and quartz charts in your bracer notebooks and find something that works for you. That's what we did. This concludes your training here at the Orbital Factory. Now it's time to move on to what you've been waiting for, the Qualification Test. Pardon? Did you just say test? You can't honestly tell me that you forgot about the test again, can you? Didn't I remind you just this morning? Now that you mention it, I vaguely remember some sort of talk along those lines at the breakfast table. Sometimes I fear for the future of the Bracer Guild and humanity. Oh well, no sense in worrying about that now. Let's head over to the testing area. You mean now? I don't know if I'm ready for... How about a little less yapping and a little more walking? Joshua, help me. Mr. Melders, Freddy, thank you for all your help. Don't mention it, and good luck with that test of yours. We'll be rooting for you. I'm going to remember that you left me high and dry like this, Joshua. All your training has finally come down to this. Your qualification tests will begin here. I expect to see you both use what you've learned up to this point. Understood. What's wrong, Estelle? Shara? What now? I was kind of wondering, but is there not going to be a paper test or something? Did Cassius drop you on your head as a child or something? You just read what it said on the bulletin board not that long ago, right? Yeah, and I even made you jot down what you read in your bracer notebooks. Unless you forgot that, too. I'm pretty sure the job listing mentioned searching for and retrieving an item from the sewers. Ringing any bells yet?
What a relief. O divine Adios, I give thanks to thee for thy infinite grace in bestowing upon us such wonderful gifts as sewers. So what you're really saying is, you thought it was a paper test? No wonder you were acting all crazy back at the Orbal factory. I can already feel the nostalgia. All those horrible days stuck in a classroom are starting to feel like grand memories indeed. I'm really starting to wonder if we'll even be able to graduate at all. What's wrong with you? Why do you have to go and say something like that when I'm trying to reminisce about positive things? Alright, that's enough jabbering, you two. This is supposed to be a test, so how about the both of you try to at least look a little anxious? Just so you know though, if you do happen to flunk the test, you don't even want to imagine the kind of homework I have in store for the both of you. We'll be fine. Just tell us what you want us to do and let us loose. Well, if you're so confident, then how about proving that you're not just blowing hot air with the results of your test? Anyway, as you both saw on the bulletin board, this test will be a search and conducted in Roulette sewers. Your objective is to retrieve the contents of a chest which has been placed somewhere within that area. The layout of the sewers is extremely simple, so you don't need to worry about getting lost either. However, there are real living, breathing monsters down there, so if you get careless and let your guard down, you will be sorry. Also, let me give you this before I forget. Receive tear bombs, these are recovery items, and the monster guide. What's this book for? It's called a monster guide, and it's used to record information about monsters and other opponents you meet. Whenever you figure out an enemy's attributes, you should make an immediate note of it in there. Sounds pretty straightforward to me. He who controls the flow of information controls the tide of battle, right? That's exactly what I'm saying. You've really got a good head on your shoulders, Joshua. That's some pretty useful advice. Thanks for the tip, Shara. We'll put it to good use. Alrighty then, let's get pumped and knock out this test. Let's. Don't forget though, this is an exam. We should make sure we treat it as such. Alright, before we continue, let me go into our equipment and get Estelle and Joshua fitted out, because of course, as part of our New Game Plus carryover, I got the best stuff in the game. Put all this on. For accessories, I want to put on, where is it? Did I pass it up? There it is. Grail Locket. That stops all like ailments except for KO. And finally, let's add the Gladiator headband. No, I want the belt. That's the one I want. For Joshua, we'll do the same. Strong weapon for him. Strong armor. Strong shoes. Grail Locket. And finally, the Gladiator belt. So these are the Roulette sewers. There appears to be a recovery point set up over there. Let's use it if our HP and EP become low before engaging in any further battles. Orbit charging stations are recovery points set up in dangerous areas. As a recovery point is approached, an exclamation point will appear, and two choices will be displayed by pressing the OK button. By selecting the rest option, all HP and EP will be restored. Sounds like a plan to me. Use it. Although I'm not really missing anything, just a little bit from adding that HP quartz to Estelle. Alright, here's your first battle. Monsters at 12 o'clock. Be careful not to let them take advantage of your blind side. Got it. Monsters cannot be seen from far away. They will become visible as you approach them. The conditions at the start of a battle will change depending on how a monster is engaged. Engaging an enemy from behind is advantageous, while being attacked by an enemy from behind is disadvantageous. Alright, so standard battle here. They don't let us use arts or crafts just yet, so we gotta use basic attacks. And because of the equipment I put on and our levels, we're going to instantly kill these monsters.
That's that then. Let's move out.
So when you defeat monsters, obviously you get experience. I'm at level 41. The odds of me ever leveling up in this playthrough are pretty low. The way experience works in Trails games is that the more you level up and like the further you get away from like the curve of where your level should be at any point in the game, the less experience you get, to where it reduces to 1 experience per monster. So I probably won't see any significant experience until the final chapter. And even then, like, the chances of me getting to level 42 are still not even great. Usually level 40 is about like the max level for this game. Obviously you can mathematically go higher, but 40 is the level in which you get the maximum carryover bonus into second chapter. And for defeating monsters, you also get Sepith. You see I got some Earth, Fire, and Space Sepith. And they also drop other things. They don't drop Mira, but they can drop items. These are monster bits. Believe it or not, the monsters drop like little parts of themselves, like actual leftovers, which you can use in cooking meals. Here comes some more. Depending on the enemy, some physical attacks may be ineffective. Let's use arts, not physical attacks. Okay. Arts are effective on enemies that are good at avoiding physical attacks. Arts also make long-range attacks possible, but they require time to cast. EP is consumed when arts are used. EP can be recovered by resting at inns, hotels, or by using charge stations and other items like an EP charge. Alright, let's use our basic arts. So like it said, when you choose an art, it takes some time to cast. You can see the turn order over on the left on the AT board. And you can see how long it's going to take Estelle to shoot out that fireball. And we'll do the same with Joshua. Use Soul Blur. The enemies would normally attack in a regular battle, but they take it easy on you, this being a tutorial. There's Soul Blur and Firebolt.
We're good to go.
Estelle, let's try using crafts this time around. Since crafts have other effects besides just dealing out damage, they're worth a shot. Roger that! Crafts have range limits and can be utilized instantly. CP is gained by dealing out or receiving damage during battle. Yes, so in addition to our HP and EP, you see that there's a third bar there on the status menus, and that's CP or command points. So crafts are like basic attacks. They can come out instantly, but they're typically stronger, and they're not always attacks like Joshua said. They can also be support abilities, like this one for Estelle, Morale. This is a strength buff. And Joshua's crafts, now usually when you start the game you'd only have like 1 or 2 crafts, but because I have the in-game levels, we have both of their full sets of crafts. So let's use basic dual strike. And because of my level as well as the things that I'm wearing, chances of monsters actually doing damage to me are very low. They actually make it to where they'll do 0 damage.
Alright, we're good to go.
Let's check over here. Got a chest, but it's not the one we're looking for. Found Reviving Balm. So this chest, when you read it, when you check an empty chest, it gives you a little message. This chest is empty because of you. Nice work, hero. Now the way this works is that in the original game by Falcom, the chest will display a basic message saying the chest is empty. But as Western fans know, Xseed went through the liberty of giving all the empty chests in the Trails in the Sky games messages when you interact with them. They customized that chest is empty message and just left little notes and little jokes and whatnot inside of all the empty chests. There are hundreds and hundreds of them. There are a lot of chests over the course of the Trails in the Sky trilogy. So that's a lot of unique messages they had to come up with. Oh, what a surprise. Another creepy thing. I wish there were an easier way to take care of them. One blow using an S-Craft or S-Break should do the trick for just about any enemy. The catch is, their CP has to be at least 100 to pull off one of those moves. Devastating attacks can only be unleashed when the CP is above 100. S-Breaks are actions which allow S-Crafts to be immediately unleashed while ignoring the battle order. S-Crafts which are unleashed as S-Breaks can be changed by going to the tactics and then set S-Break within the main menu. Alright, so let's learn a bit about these S-Crafts. So in the craft menu, you have these 2 that are denoted by S. These are the character's strongest attacks in the game. And again, because I'm on in-game levels, I have the second S-Craft. So you usually start the game with Pummel on Estelle, but eventually she learns Barrage. And in order to do an S-Craft, you have to have 100 CP, so we're just below that with both of them right now. But attacking an enemy will generate some CP. And because of the accessories I put on, they also auto-generate CP. So now Joshua's already at 100. Let's see here. I would prefer not to use Joshua's just yet, so let me explain instead how it is that S-Breaks work. So like it said, you can S-Break by, on my control setup with the controller, it's hitting right on the D-pad, and there we go. So you see it highlights the 2 red spots above their menus. And you do that, and if you select one of your party members, they'll jump in line on the AT board, and the next turn will be theirs. And you can unleash your S-Craft whenever you want, assuming you have 100 CP. So let me attack this guy with Joshua, and then I will S-Break with Estelle. So let's go into the tactics menu. I think it's already set though, so you can see set S-Break. Yeah, it already carried over from my last playthrough, but obviously with Estelle and Joshua, as you go throughout the game and eventually level up to the point where you get their second S-Crafts, you want to come into set S-Break and change it to the stronger one. For Estelle, Barrage is definitely better than Pummel. For Joshua, there's a difference between Sever and Black Fang. Sever hits a single enemy. Black Fang is one of the only S-Crafts in the game that will hit multiple enemies. So it's very helpful, especially against really large groups of strong enemies. And let's see, here's our final monster right here. So that's the treasure chest we're after, huh? If we made it this far, the rest is going to be a piece of cake. Seems like we got a little breathing room at least. Let's pay close attention to our battle order this time. There should be a number of ways to get more mileage out of our actions. During battle, there are several bonuses which can be allotted to turns. Turn bonuses have the same effect regardless of whether they are allotted to an ally or a foe. Using S-Breaks to ignore the battle order makes it easy to jump in and strip an enemy of their bonus. So now we have bonuses lined up on the left side on the board for the turns. The one on Estelle, that red crystal thing, is a Sabbath bonus, which means that any enemies you hit on this turn will drop extra Sabbath, and you'll get that at the end of the battle. The 2 hearts are obviously HP recovery, so that means that whoever moves on that turn will start by getting a 10% heal. So that's usually not good when you see enemies with that. Typically bosses. Anytime a boss has a chance to recover HP that way, that really sucks. But like the game said, you can change the turn order up a bit by using S-Breaks. If you S-Break in the middle of right before an enemy is about to get a really good bonus, you can steal it away from them. Now, in addition to the 2 that are on the board right now, there are other bonuses. A wide variety of them get introduced over the course of this series. But the best one that we'll probably be seeing in this game, unquestionably actually, is the critical bonus, which will be denoted by an exclamation point. So when a crit bonus shows up, you really don't want the opponent to get that, because if they hit you, well, with that crit bonus, it can do tons of damage. But if you steal it with an S-Break, that means your S-Break will hit, your S-Craft will hit with critical damage. It'll do I guess twice as much. And that can be really useful in just destroying some bosses. So let's start off. I wish I had some CP with the cell right now. I'd show off more of what this Sabbath bonus looks like. But I'll strike this guy. He drops extra Sabbath. And then, let's see, I'll hit this one. And then I'm going to S-Break with Joshua. And we can see Black Fang.
You're finished. All right, we're good to go.
Alright, let's check the chest. Found small box times 2.
That's weird. There are a couple of boxes inside the treasure chest. The fact that there's not just one but 2 is kind of interesting too. Wonder what's inside.
Remember, Estelle, our mission is to search and retrieve only. I'm pretty sure looking inside those boxes doesn't fall under our mission objective.
You're no fun at all, Joshua. This has nothing to do with our mission. It's what I like to call good, honest curiosity. You know, we're the only ones down here. We can get away with a teensy-weensy peek, right?
If you feel like flunking today's test, then by all means, be my guest.
Did you just say the F word?
Yep, opening one of those boxes could result in an automatic fail for the both of us. If this were a real job, the contents of those boxes would belong to the client. And as long as they were nothing illegal, you would have no right to open them.
I know you're right, Joshua, but I just can't help myself.
If you absolutely have to know what's inside, why not ask Miss Cheryl when we get back? But for now, we need to focus on getting out of here.
Alright.
By looking inside the chest again, you flunk. Just kidding. I'll exceed. They knew what chest was going to get that message. They tested it. Alright, let's get out of here.
Good work, you two. As a rule of training, I'm going to need to confirm the items in your possession.
Handed over the small box times 2.
Yep, they're the real deal, alright. I don't see any evidence of tampering either. That was a close one.
I figured she would try and set us up like that.
Congratulations to the both of you. You have successfully passed your qualification test. You didn't really think something that simple would be a problem for us, did you? So, Shara, what's in those boxes you had us get? That's for me to know and for you to find out, after your training is finished. That's enough chit-chat for now, so let's get back to work. You two still have some things left to do. Seriously? But didn't you just say that we passed the test? You still have to learn about how to report the results of your work. I'm aware that you're both tired, but this is no time to shirk your duties. Let's get back to the guild. When is this day going to be over? Oh well, no sense in giving up when the finish line is in sight. Agreed. It seems like we're within reaching distance of our goal. Your final training is how to report to the guild. Whenever you finish a job, it is your duty to report the results of your hard work to the guild. Reporting how you resolved the situation and the steps you took to get there are all part of your job as a bracer. You can report your results to the front desk in each guild branch. And as you already know by now, Aina is in charge here at the Rolent branch. In addition, this is where you will be paid for your work. I look forward to seeing great things from the both of you. Now that we're here, why don't you both go ahead and report the results of today's training. Upon approaching the counter, a talk mark will appear. Pressing the OK button will display a list of options. Select report to report to the guild. So there's your status little menu there. It tells you your progress. So we got payment, 500 Mira, and 1 bracer point. Aina will explain that in a moment, but obviously you see in parentheses a +0 on both of them. That just means that not in the case of this little training mission, but with future jobs, sometimes there are things you can do and choices you can make that will result in earning extra Mira and earning extra bracer points. I will be working my hardest to assure that we get the maximum bracer score at the end of the game. Current rank is Junior Bracer, 9th class. Good job, you two. It seems like you were able to complete your objective without running into any major problems. Another thing to take note of is that depending on how you handle a job, you may see an increase or decrease in the amount of pay you receive. When you report the results of your work to the guild, pay in the form of Mira isn't the only thing you will receive. You'll also accumulate points which are known as BP, Bracer Points. BP are an indication of your achievements as a Bracer. When these points exceed a certain value, you will advance in rank as a Bracer and be awarded with a piece of special equipment by the guild. The ranks of a Junior Bracer start at 9 and go all the way up to 1. Please set your sights on making first rank and work hard. The amount of Mira and BP you receive will also be recorded in your Bracer notebooks, so please have a look sometime later on. All that's left to do now is finalize your training. Let's head back upstairs, shall we? I'll talk to you later, Aina. And sorry about putting more work on your plate than usual. Don't worry about it. Training new bracers is important for the future of the guild. I fully intend to work these two to the bone in any case. To the bone? And knowing Shara, it'll involve the whip. Let me say it again. Good work, you two. You have now officially completed the entire training course. From now on, you'll be learning from your own real-world experience. Well then. Scheherazade holds out 2 small boxes. Aren't those boxes the ones? In answer to your question, yes. These are the boxes you retrieved during today's test. You seem awfully curious to find out what's inside, Estelle. Are you saying that it's okay if we open them? That's right. Why don't the both of you have a look and see what's inside? Sweet! Alright, let's have a look. Estelle and Joshua open the boxes. Receive Junior Bracer Emblem. This crest is... So does this mean we're... Ahem. Estelle Bright, Joshua Bright. Beginning this day at 1500 hours, you are both hereby appointed as Junior Bracers within the Bracer Guild. From here on, you will work as members of the Bracer Guild to support the livelihood of those around you, defend peace, and uphold justice. Congratulations, you two, and welcome into the fold. Did you hear that, Joshua? We've become members of the Bracer Guild. So I'm a Bracer now, huh? I think the realization is only now just beginning to sink in. Come on, Joshua. You should be jumping for joy or running around and screaming at the top of your lungs like this. Look at us now, world! We did it! I was happy until you made my eardrums bleed. I hate to interrupt the celebrations, Estelle, but I need to take off now. I have some backed up work that needs my immediate attention. We understand. You've been spending a lot of extra hours working with us during this busy time for the guild. Before you head out, Shara, I just wanted to say thanks. Likewise, I appreciate all the trouble you've gone through for us, Shara. Don't mention it. Training new recruits is one of a Bracer's many duties. Believe it or not, I was once in your shoes a long time ago when your father Cassius trained me. So that's why you have so much respect for my dad, huh? There's actually much more to it than that, but I'll save that conversation for another day. As for the both of you, work hard to become full-fledged Bracers early on, so you can help guide those new recruits who come after yourselves. And in time, I hope to see you both become respectable Bracers like your father. Anyway, I'll leave you with that thought. I just don't get it. Get what? This is Scheherazade, aka the Silver Streak, one of the most skilled young Bracers we're talking about. So why is it that she holds Dad in such high esteem? He just seems like nothing more than a no-good middle-aged man who's always out doing who knows what instead of being a father. A no-good middle-aged man, huh? From your viewpoint, it doesn't come as a surprise that you would see him in that fashion. Huh? Never mind. Let's hurry and head home. We should let Dad know that we qualified as Junior Bracers. Right. And that's where we stop for now. So when we pick up next time, we'll head on back to the Bright House. We'll be sure to pick up a issue of the Liberl News for Cassius. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do what I like to call Orbment building, which means that off camera, I will be setting up Estelle and Joshua's Orbments with more high-level quartz that I carried in, and getting us some really good art so that I don't ever have to touch it for the rest of the game. It's a very tedious task, and it doesn't make for great footage, so anytime I have to do that with a character, I'll be doing that off camera. Alright, that's it for now. See you guys in the next one.